Hello, and welcome to another Range unit of the week. And today we're taking a look at the Cho'onma-Ho V. Cho'onma-Ho, or translated into Pegasus, is one of North Korea's indigenously produced tanks. You see, the North Koreans used a lot of imported tanks, such as T-55s, T-34s, and Type 59s. And of the whole reliance, or self-reliance aspect of North Koreans' culture, which is Juche, they needed, well, to produce a tank of their own for their own sake. And so that's where the Cho'onma-Ho comes in. It introduced into North Korean military service somewhere in the late 70s, early 80s. And really, it's just a T-62 with some slight modifications. There's been many upgrades to the Cho'onma-Ho tank throughout its service history and modernization programs, such as improved armor, engine, ballistics computer, eventually the addition of error blocks. I mean, they even put MANPADS on the early versions of the tanks. The model we're talking about today, which is in game, the Mark V, in real life is also known as the Cho'onma-Ho 98, because it entered into service in 1998. But this is the War Game timeline, so in War Game it entered into service in 1992. But it's all kind of made up stats anyway, because we don't really know a whole lot about this tank. In game, the Cho'onma-Ho V is a 90-point tank available to North Korea, and it has two weapons. So the main gun of the tank is a 115mm cannon with 28 rounds of ammunition. It's a pretty good cannon, long range, accurate, pretty good AP at 19, and also a decent rate of fire of 8 rounds a minute. Its main drawback is its low high explosive power of only 3 instead of the standard 4 for a larger main battle tank gun. And you don't have a 50 cal machine gun, oh no, you got a 14.5mm machine gun, the KBVT. And if we pop down to its miscellaneous stats, it has 16 frontal armor, 8 at side, 3 at back, and 2 at top. Medium size, medium optics, and a pretty medium speed of 55 kilometers off-road and 110 on the road. It has decent fuel autonomy, it is prototyped, and it is only available to mechanized and armored decks. In battle, the Cho'onma-Ho V is a pretty decent high-end medium tank in the war game sense. Like with a lot of the Red Dragon armored fighting vehicles, they usually have low armor, but a pretty powerful gun, and the Cho'onma-Ho V is no exception. 19 AP and maximum range is pretty damn good, as a lot of tanks in this price range usually have anywhere from 15 to 18 AP power. But there is a pretty decent alternative to the Cho'onma-Ho V in the Red Dragon stack, and that is the ZTZ-85-2A. And it's a pretty close choice between both. Really, for 10 points more with the Cho'onma-Ho, you're getting slightly better rate of fire, slightly better armor, but you also have worse high explosive power and slightly worse stabilizers. But I don't think the stabilizers really matter too much for the Cho'onma-Ho V, and really the ZTZ, because these are more glass cannony tanks. I mean, they have just enough armor to survive 1 or 2 shots from a high-end gun, but in a head-on brawl against something like a Leopard 2, it's going to be a little bit dicey. And really, with a lot of these Red Dragon tanks in general, they perform much better in defensive operations, as usually you do want to try and get that first shot advantage from an ambush position to make the most bang for your buck with your big bloody gun, because you might as well take advantage of that high AP for the price. Overall, the Cho'onma-Ho V is a pretty good tank for what you're getting. Its main attribute is its firepower. It does allow you to hit a little bit above your rate. Don't try and engage Leopard 2A5s head on, you're gonna have a very bad day. There's still a good reason why super heavy tank meta is the main meta in war game. But for the Red Dragon Nation, this is a pretty decent tank to take. And I really do love a lot of the Red Dragon tanks in game, as I'm a big fan of the high damage but low armor playstyle. It's high risk, high reward. If you can make these tanks work by getting into good positions, getting that first shot, they will do a lot of bloody damage. You just have to be a little bit more careful of your micro. And they're not the greatest in the attack. A bit slow, the armor's not great, not the best high explosive fire support against infantry and soft targets. These are more tank destroyers, so to speak. But yeah, it's a decent tank, which is pretty funny considering it's North Korea. Maybe I'd get a T-90 next, who knows. Anyway, this has been another Rank Unit of the Week. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and usual, please just take it easy.